Hello everyone, I'm going to try and talk us through how to get CSURF going in Express. The documentation you'll probably be familiar with is here, and it talks us through how to install it, but I find it really difficult to actually figure out how to get it just started to check, say, in Postman. So this is what I'm going to try and show you now. So step one is to create a new folder and set up Express. First, we'll go to the terminal and create a new folder. And then we'll create our npm package.json file. We can just hit enter for all of these as they don't matter. Then finally we'll open VS Code. Okay, with VS Code now open, we can start setting up a backend server. I'll do this first with mix.js. I'll just paste basic script in here. It's about as simple as you can get it. If you need to understand this, there are better tutorials on setting up Express out there. And then of course we'll do app.js. Save that. And now what I'm also going to do is set up a start script in my package.json. We're going to use Node1 here, so I'll show you how to install that if you're not familiar. So now if I start running the start script, it should not work. Yeah, there we go. So we haven't installed our module, so I'll do that right now. So if we say npm install express, once that's done, we'll do npm install globally node-mod. There we go, right, so try start again. And as you can see, app running on port 5000 is written on the bottom there, so we're good. Okay, so now what remains to be done is to go to our example in the documentation, and we'll get all of this from there, copy and paste it into our app. Now, it already contains these two in the example, so I'll get rid of that and replace it with this. So we're still exporting. Important we do that, and you can see that the lines I've deleted are actually here. And so now you'll notice we've introduced a few new items that we have a require on, which means we'll need to install them because they don't yet feature in our package.json. So if I go to well, I'll show you just it failing here. If we restart, we should see an error, module not found, cannot find cookie-parser, so that's that one. We'll also need CSURF, body-parser, express. So I'll just install those now. Install cookie, CSURF. Let's cross our fingers and oh no, can't find metal cookie parser. Did I not install that correctly? Let's try again. Try again. The familiar problem. Right, let's get rid of that. Cancel that. Kill all node. And then start. Yes, and we're back in the game. Okay, so next we're going to look at using Postman to check that this is working. So the first step is we'll go to Postman downloads, just to show you that it exists and where to get it. So obviously for me, and then I download, and that's how you get it. I've already got it on my system, so I'll just show you that now. Bring that up. Okay, so the first step is to set up a new route. So our first is going to be a GET request to localhost 5000, and let's see what it was. It was to form, and then the post request is to process. So we'll do form for now. Form. And do we need to send any information? Well, let's try that for now. Error, no default engine. Okay, so that is to be expected actually. So the call is working and we're getting a response from our server, and as you can see it's sent a cookie here called CSURF. This will become relevant later, so let's go back and see what's going on there. So the reason that's not working is because we're using render without specifying a method, but that's an easy fix. What we'll do is create a new way of doing it. Let's say res.send, and then we'll say and we'll send the same thing just in a simpler method. We'll try that now. So we go back, saved, send, body. Great, so now you can see we've got our CSRF token. Good news. So next we're going to send a post request. Very similar, same address, except at the end it's going to say process and it's going to be a post message. So I'll send a failing one now so we can see what happens when we get it wrong. Send, and you can see could not send request, connection refused. So now we'll send another failing request, but less failing. So we'll at least send it to the right place. There you go. So now we've got a forbidden error, invalid CSRF token. Well, that makes sense because we haven't sent the required CSRF token that we received in our body here. So what we need to do is copy and paste this into our, well, we could do it either in the headers or the body, because if we go back to the documentation, it tells us that CSURF, our middleware, will look in rec.bodies.csrf or rec.query.csrf or these headers. So we could do it in any of these, but it will look in this one first. So let's start with this one. Okay, so we'll copy that and we'll put that in our body. So post body, I think we want to go with this one, and then this. Now what we'll need to do is put it, this one here, in there, I believe, and click send. I'm not sure this will work first time. Work first time, fantastic. So now you can see CSURF has read this in the body. It's done this because we've installed body-parser. You can see that's doing that here, and it's also doing that with as middleware in our post request. Then the CSURF is coming into play to check that pass token, and then it's sending because it's all been successful in the past. Okay, so to recap, this has happened in a couple of stages. The first stage is the GET request we send to the form endpoint in the server. In the GET request itself, you can see from Postman here we have not sent anything other than default information. There's no params, authorization headers, nothing here, and nothing in the body. Now, in the server side, if we look at that, we can see we actually send two things back. In the body here, we've got the CSRF token, which is this, and in the cookies, the server sent back the CSURF session cookie. So, where has this happened? Well, we've chosen to implement the cookie option here, and we have sent the actual body CSRF token here, which arrives here. So the reason this is happening is because we've implemented the middleware here, which knows to send this cookie here, so that's the cookie being sent, and then here we have the body element being sent. And then the next step was we try to make a post call to the server. We do this by sending back the exact same two tokens that we received back from the server in the GET request, those being the CSURF token here, as well, which is sent in the body, as well as the CSURF session token, which is there and we can see here. So these two things are being sent back to the server. The server is receiving it in this process endpoint. It's being parsed, as in the body is being parsed, which means this token is then available for this CSURF middleware. this middleware can then check the two tokens to make sure they come from the same source, i.e. they both come from me on Postman here and not a far off endpoint somewhere. Checked, and if they are valid, if they work together, it's then allowing us to go to this next point, in which case we're responding with some data which we're receiving here that shows it works. Now if this middleware found that the tokens didn't match, i.e. if I start deleting some stuff and try again, send, we'll see an error message. So that again shows that CSURF is working and doing what it should be.